I've been wanting to talk about Jurassic Park for a while now, and I finally bought the original on Blu-ray, where an immediate issue jumped right out at me. Keep in mind, the book is an alternate universe, so it has no place in my movie theory. But in the film, Mr. John Hammond and his
spared no expense
routine actually creates a huge plot hole for the entire franchise that just ruins the movie. Okay, for those of you who need a refresher, Hammond was the idea man of Jurassic Park, but he didn't actually own the park because it really belonged to the investors, the InGen Corporation, aka International Genetics Incorporated. Even though they don't really show up in the film, aside from the lawyer representing their interests, InGen's need for expert approvals is why the entire film occurs. They put in the big bucks, so they own Jurassic Park, and that's why Jurassic World eventually happened against what we can assume were John Hammond's wishes. So the only reason Hammond could boast
we spared no expense
was because InGen was paying for everything. Yet Jurassic Park as an actual theme park tanked because they did cut corners. And no, I'm not here to say that they didn't hire the best geneticist or build the finest structures, but the entire catalyst that kills Jurassic Park was Dennis Nedry. Again, if you can't quite remember the full context, Nedry was Jurassic Park's tech guy, and he essentially cut a deal with a rival company who was offering big bucks for dinosaur embryos. That prompted Nedry to shut off power to the park so he could complete his theft without detection. That's why the T-Rex got out, why the doors didn't have locks, and why many people got killed, all because everything in the park hinged on power and the mercy of the park's single networking guy. But why would Nedry so readily betray his employer? I mean, they spared no expense, so that means for you too, right? Well, just listen to this conversation between Hammond and Nedry.
I'm totally unappreciated in my time. You can run this whole park from this room with minimal staff for up to 3 days. You think that kind of automation is easy? Or cheap? You know anybody who can network 8 connection machines and debug 2 million lines of code for what I bid for this job? Because if you can, I'd love to see him try.
Sorry about your financial problems, Dennis. I really am, but they are your problems.
Oh, you're right, John. You're absolutely right. You know, everything's my problem.
I will not get drawn into another financial debate with you, Dennis. I really will not.
There's been hardly any debate at all.
From that back and forth, we gather that Dennis Nedry is a third-party contractor that was brought in to set up Jurassic Park's technical systems. And just like with a military contractor, the cheapest bid wins. That's not really unusual, and Nedry would probably be replaced with a salaried staff member after everything was set up and running smoothly. But apparently, Nedry didn't know how large this task was going to be, and so he's very unhappy with his pay rate, a subject that Mr. Spare No Expense himself refuses to discuss or help with. This doesn't make any sense. A project like this that has taken 5 years and billions of dollars to construct would not be cutting corners on vital setup costs. Does it sound sensible to build up the world's most expensive theme park only to fill it with the cheapest things? No. So how can Hammond justify his spare no expense mantra while sparing every expense on Nedry's position? What's also interesting is what Hammond says when he meets Alan Grant and Ellie Starter.
I can tell instantly about people. It's a gift.
Okay, Hammond does seem kind of wary and frustrated with Nedry, but Hammond does nothing to remove him for a better and more loyal worker. And granted, they're in a time crunch in the film, but judging by their conversation, Nedry has been a disgruntled employee for a long time, and that's really dangerous in a workplace that's essentially top secret. Even though InGen writes the checks and calls the ultimate shots, I mean, Hammond is their eyes and ears on the ground. Surely his word would mean a lot to them. All of this makes me wonder if Hammond actually wanted the park to succeed. I know he seems very excited about his vision coming to life, but what if it was all a ruse? What if InGen was getting too pushy, demanding, unsafe, whatever, and Hammond knew he had to do something, or maybe nothing, to make sure the park would never open? Meaning he encouraged Nedry's meltdown, hoping he would sabotage the the park's pre-opening event. Without the green light to open the park, InGen might abandon the project or sell off the park to a company more willing to listen to reason over the bottom dollar. True, it doesn't make a lot of sense to sabotage your park with your own grandchildren in it, but maybe Hammond didn't predict how bad things would go. Or maybe Hammond was just hoping that Nedry would screw up enough to get himself fired. I'm not sure, you guys can argue that out in the comments, but you can't argue that employee salaries at Jurassic Park are a really bizarre and misguided area to spare all the expense. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have two other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.